know he wasn't going to show up to the visits? Is
No,
that
I
what
did
you're
not
talking
know.
about?
I did not know it was a
Oh, so let me get this straight.
50-50.
You slept with this dude and didn't know he was going to show up for the visits. And now that he doesn't show up for the visits, now your child doesn't need him.
Welcome back. Does a child need a father? Or would they be better suited to a father figure? Well, that'll be the discussion that we'll be looking at today. And we're going to take a small clip from the lead attorney in which he was having a rather lengthy conversation with a young woman who had some interesting views. So let's get into the video so that I don't waste your time.
You were upset that he would not attend these prenatal visits with you, but then once the baby was born healthy, he wanted 50-50 custody. But you felt like that was unfair because he did not go to the prenatal visits with you.
I feel it's unfair. I feel it's unfair.
So let's
Mhm.
just let's just kind of push this out to other people now, because if you feel it's unfair to you, it would be unfair to everybody else. Should there
Mhm.
be a rule that fathers who do not go to the prenatal visits do not get 50-50 custody?
Yes, because if you're saying that, especially with times now, when you're saying life starts at conception, they should be a part of that life. They should be a part of those steps. They should be held responsible for all of those things as well. Not just not just at the end when the child comes out and now you're like, oh, well, I'm going to take 50-50. No, I've put in work on this. I've taken sick leave for this. I've taken all these different things. So I
Let
don't
me
really.
ask you,
So now, of course, usually we don't interrupt when a clip is being played, but now just to bring you up to speed, the lead attorney is interviewing a young lady, and she is discussing all of the things that she feels like was unfair in the process of trying to get full custody of her child. She was 18 when she had the child, right? And her stance on the matter is that the 9 months that she carried the child should be enough evidence for any judge to look at the situation and automatically grant her uh, full custody. And now she's talking about how she feels about the fact that the father did not attend any of the prenatal visits. But now here is the question that I have in regards to this, and I think it's a pretty good question. If he wanted to be a part of the prenatal visits, now I'll let you go back and look at the entirety of the conversation, but if he wanted to be a part of it, after she has already mentioned that she wanted to move on with her life and exclude the father, do you think that she would be welcoming of this man and his being in attendance at these visits, or do you think that it would have been a hassle, a headache, a difficulty, a hardship? And listen, I'm not trying to give this brother any kind of leeway in this situation, but I think that it is necessary for us to think about what kind of an environment she would have produced in and around these visits. In the few seconds that you heard her talk, do you think that she seems to be a reasonable person? I'll let you answer that question within yourself. Let's keep going.
Do you think a child needs a father?
Yes, I do believe a child needs a father.
Does a child benefit from having the father in the child's life?
A child does benefit from having a father figure in their life.
Because what I just
All right. So now we're going to pause right there. The lead attorney, as keen as he is, I know that he picked up on what was just said. He asked, did the child need a father? The first time she says yes, the child needs a father. And then her next response was that the child needed a father figure. So we've gone away from the biological parent. We've gone away from the biological parent. We've gone away from the notion that the biological parent, the father, has just as much right to be in that child's life as she has. But we've gone away from that now. Just notice that little change, that little nuance that she's allowed to slip out. But now let's keep going and see what we can see from the rest of the interview.
hear you you say is me. I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that. I'm hearing that you're not talking about the child. What does your child need? You keep talking about what you did, but what about your child? Why are you putting you above your child? That's what I can't understand. You say that your child needs the father. But then because he didn't but because he didn't show up to the visits, now your child doesn't get those same benefits. Your child gets less time, less valuable time with the father because he didn't show up to your visits. But the child is missing out.
I don't feel that the child missed out overall. The child is.
You just said that a child benets from time with the father.
I didn't say a father. I said a father figure, and the father.
Oh my God!
I did say a father figure.
Jesus Christ! Are you guys listening? So, like an uncle could be a father figure, right?
Yep. He had his uncles. He had my father, and he was able to, move forward in his life. Like, it's not, I don't think that every person is the right father figure.
Then why are you sleeping?
So now here's the thing. Now, I think that she's right when it comes to that particular, that everyone is not right to be a father or a father figure, right? So then why put him in that position? Why put him in that position? If you had even an inkling that this man was not ready to be a father, then why are you all engaging in activities that could cause this man to be a father? Why are y'all doing that? At 17 and 18 years of age, you are not mentally prepared for the activities that you're carrying on. So now, why is it so much vitriol? Why is it so much hatred directed at this young man when there were two individuals who made the decision to have unprotected sex, knowing that there was a strong possibility that these actions could produce a child? See, what we like to do is, and I'm calling it like I see it, what we like to do is we like to think about things afterward instead of being proactive. And this is most definitely a retroactive move to look back and say, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't have put him in a situation to be a father. No, you had no business engaging in activities that could make anyone a father. You were 18 years old, 17 or 18, either one. You're not ready for those kind of responsibilities. You're not ready. So why do anything to put yourself in a situation that you're not ready for? Let's keep going.
With these men, why are you creating children with these men if they're not the father figures?
Well,
why don't you just sleep with your uncle? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
So I went ahead. I did not know that person was going to be like that when that happened. And then as things went on.
You didn't know he wasn't going to show up to the visits? Is that what you're talking about?
I did not know it was.
Let me get this straight. You slept with this dude and didn't know he was going to show up for the visits. And now that he doesn't show up for the visits, now your child doesn't need him. Now your child just needs a father figure. Your father, for example, or the uncle, for example.
Yep. And we've moved on perfectly. We've moved on. Now I'm happy married.
So here's the thing. When you look at that particular segment, that particular clip, now the conversation was quite a bit longer than that. We covered about 3 minutes of the conversation, the very last 3 minutes. But here is the thing that stands out to me. I would call the relationship between this young man and this young woman a ticking time bomb. Because of their age and because of evidently being naive, these two were not concerned about the results of the actions that they were taking, having unprotected sex at their age, having sex in general at their age, is not something that they can do, and then there would be no after effects. That's why I say that was naive. And then the second thing I think that really stands out to me is how it is that she could just completely cut the father, the biological father, out of her son's life. And then I don't know where she got the notion that it would be okay in life for him. Because even though he has a father figure, will his father figure, whether that's her father or her husband now, his stepfather, will they be able to explain to him his other lineage, the other family members that he may have? See, what this is a recipe for resentment, because this young man is going to grow up and he's going to find out that the man that has been caring for him and the man that has been doing all the things that a father should is not actually his biological father. And if he's not aware of that fact, and if he's not made aware of that fact early, then he's going to resent them for not being honest with him. And then he's going to want to know where his father is. Because you got to understand, no matter how good of a stepfather a person may have, no matter how good of a stepfather a person may be, there is always going to be a need for that child to know who their biological parents are. There's an attachment there that cannot be replaced. And so this young man is going to want to know who his father is and who are all of his relatives on his father's side. And because of the fact that she has blatantly cut this young man off from his father's side, then there is a possibility that there's going to be some animosity from that young man, and deservedly so. It took two to create the young man, I should say. Then it should also take two to help this man grow in his development. But then you got to understand that there has to be some trauma that's being dealt with here. It has to be some trauma, because the way that she describes her situation, the way that she describes what happened, is filled with cues that there are things that she needs to deal with that she hasn't come to grips with, right? And really, the question on my mind is, has she taken the necessary steps to get some help to deal with these traumas? Because if she hadn't, even though she's cut the father out of the young man's life, then she could still pass on the same traumas to this young man. See, it's about assessing the situation and putting our children on the best footing that we possibly can. But now let's go back, because I made a statement and I want to clarify that statement. The relationship between these two young people was a ticking time bomb, right? And when that ticking time bomb finally exploded, then there was emotional shrapnel that went all over the place. And the reason why I use that particular term is, if anybody is familiar with the explosion of a bomb, then remnants of that bomb are hurled into the atmosphere around where the bomb originally exploded, right? So what's the evidence of emotional shrapnel in this particular instance? Think about the wounds that the father carries around, knowing that there is a child in the world that has no knowledge of him. Think about the emotional shrapnel that she carries around, having to live with the fact that she cut her son voluntarily off from his biological father. And now she set up a facade for him to live in. And when he gets older, he's going to resent the fact that his biological father was not involved in his life. And then think about too the family of the father, and how they understand that there's a child that also shares their blood, and they can't have any contact with the child. And you know that they can't have any contact because of what she said. They have moved on. She has moved on. and that her son he's been doing pretty good for right now. And then can you think about the emotional shrapnel that the young boy will encounter as he grows up and he finds out that this lifestyle that he's been exposed to is devoid of one of his biological parents, right? If she isn't honest with him about where he comes from and who he is, then there's going to be resentment. There's going to be difficulties in trying to reason with him. And I thought this particular clip was a good one, because you have a lot of sisters, unfortunately, that take this very same path. And that's why I encourage everyone, not just the sisters, but everyone, to be abstinent. Be abstinent. Because there are traumas that are visited on you, whether you are male or female, because you're not ready for the activities that you're engaging in. You're not ready to be someone's mother. You're not ready to be someone's father. Because at 17 and 18, you barely know how to take care of yourself. How are you going to take care of a child? And so I think that being proactive about the situation would do a lot more good than being retroactive and looking back at the situation and voicing your regrets. So this just is a thought I wanted to share with you all, man. I know a lot of you all don't agree with the old-fashioned values that I espouse on this channel, but until you show me something that works better, we're going to keep on going with these same values. So as always, man, please like, comment, and subscribe. Be easy.